President Cyril Ramaphosa has officially appointed a new board of directors at the SABC. He's appointed Khathutshelo Ramukumba as chairperson of the board and Nomvuyiso Batyi as the deputy chair. Among them is former SABC head of news, Phathiswa Magopeni, who was fired from the broadcaster in January last year. She joins former SABC journalist Dr Renee Horne as well as journalist and TV host Mpho Tsedu. Let's speak to the National Coordinator of SOS Support Public Broadcasting Coalition, Uyanda Siyotula, on this decision. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your time. I guess your initial reaction.
Thank you very much for having me. As SOS, we're quite delighted and relieved that, the board has finally been appointed. As you would know, that there's been a 6-month delay. And also, we are quite happy with the names as well, except for, 3 names that we had raised objections about. But overall, we do welcome the board appointment. It was long overdue. There really needs to be a board for the SABC to perform its public mandate role. And this has been a huge hold up, in every aspect that you can think of for the SABC to thrive.
Yeah, speaking of a huge hold up, what is the first point of call for you, or a number of items that you believe the new board needs to focus on as a matter of urgency?
One of the biggest aspects that I can think of right now, the first one is obviously the financial status of the SABC. There are about 20 business plans that need approval, and in the absence of the board, that has not been done. And then again, you'd know that the SABC continues to lose money. It continues to have insufficient revenue. So that's also a very important aspect that the board would need to look into. And there's also the digital migration process that will greatly affect the SABC. So in January, there was a submission that was made to the Department of Communications and Digital Technologies, but the SABC, because it did not have a board at the time, it wasn't able to make a sufficient submission. So, those are some of the critical aspects that this particular board would need to focus on. And again, there is also a handover document from the outgoing board whose tenure ended on the 15th of October. So, there's also some work that needs to be done in that aspect just to ensure that the good governance carries through into this particular tenure.
Taking a look at some of the names that have been presented in terms of the board, does it matter to you, or are you only concerned that good governance indeed is maintained among other things?
Yeah, obviously we would know that the SABC board plays a huge role in terms of, ensuring that there is governance at the SABC. And I think the critical, aspect of it is ensuring that we've got credible candidates, people that have integrity. That is the first step. And I think with this particular board appointment, the one person we are not happy about as the coalition is the appointment of Mr. Muhuba, whose integrity we think is questionable based on the on the saga that involves, his qualification at the University of Limpopo. So, I do think that, the candidates themselves, we could have done better in that regard. And you'd also know that we'd raised objections about Mr. Mpho Tsedu and Nomvuyiso Batyi, who has now been appointed as, the deputy chairperson. And we don't have a problem with these candidates in terms of, their qualifications and their expertise in the sector, because we think they would make an outstanding contribution to the SABC. But the issue is their current, their current jobs, because Nomvuyiso Batyi is currently serving as the CEO of the, Association of Communications and Technology, and we think that is the conflict of interest. Same as Mpho Tsedu, whom we've raised, conflict of interest issues because he is currently serving as, as the legal advisor of the Department of Communications. And, these candidates have obviously, said, not both of them actually. Mpho Tsedu has actually said, no, he'll leave his current post once he's appointed to the board, but we are not quite certain whether he'll uphold, that particular promise. And with Nomvuyiso Batyi, we would actually be happy with her appointment if she would resign as the CEO of the association.
Thank you very much to the coordinator, national coordinator of SOS Support Public Broadcasting Coalition, Uyanda Siyotula.